20. Black stars destroyed by plastic surgery. You won't believe their downfall. Hollywood sells us the dream of eternal beauty, but behind the glamour lies a darker truth. From legendary singers to reality TV stars, countless black celebrities gambled their careers and identities, chasing perfection under the surgeon's knife. What began as small changes spiraled into shocking transformations that left fans stunned, reputations shattered, and even lives at risk. These are not just stories of beauty, they are cautionary tales of fame, pressure, and regret. Are you ready to see the celebrities who paid the highest price for plastic surgery? Hit like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more untold truths. Mashoza. Nomasonto Maswanganyi, better known as Mashoza, was one of South Africa's most electrifying performers. Rising to fame in the early 2000s with her Kwaito hit Cortez, she quickly earned the nickname the First Lady of Kwaito. At a time when Kwaito music was dominated by men, Mashoza stood out with her sharp lyrics, streetwise confidence, and undeniable stage presence. She symbolized empowerment for many young women who admired her ability to succeed in a male-driven industry. But as her career gained momentum, Mashoza also became known for something beyond her music, her relentless pursuit of physical transformation. She was candid about her choices, openly admitting to multiple cosmetic surgeries, including breast augmentation, nose reshaping, and most controversially, skin-lightening treatments. This decision shocked many fans as she transitioned from her natural dark complexion to a much lighter tone. The move ignited debates about colorism, self-identity, and the pressures black women face in entertainment. What made Mashoza's story even more heartbreaking was how these procedures eventually overshadowed her artistry. Instead of being remembered only for her pioneering role in Kwaito tabloids and social media, often reduced her to before and after photos. Some praised her honesty about her body changes, while others felt she had fallen victim to unrealistic beauty standards. Her struggle reflected a wider societal question: is the pressure to look perfect destroying more careers than it builds? As years passed, health complications from her surgeries began to take a toll. Friends and family later revealed that she had endured significant pain and medical challenges linked to her body modifications. Still, Mashoza pushed forward, continuing to perform and maintain her public image, though the sparkle of her early career was harder to sustain. In 2020, tragedy struck when she passed away at just 37 years old, leaving 2 young children and a legacy clouded with both triumph and sorrow. Her untimely death was a devastating reminder that behind every cosmetic change lies real physical risk. South African media reported that fans mourned her not just as a music icon, but also as a symbol of how deeply the entertainment industry can wound those who live under its unforgiving gaze. Mashoza wanted to be celebrated as a living Barbie doll, but in chasing that image, she ultimately sacrificed her health and career stability. Even today, her story sparks debate. Some argue she should be remembered primarily for opening doors for women in Kwaito, while others see her as a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing looks over well-being. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Mashoza was both a pioneer and a victim, an ambitious woman whose legacy is as complicated as the industry she fought to conquer. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's story is one of the most extraordinary and tragic in music history. Crowned the king of pop, he sold more than 400 million records worldwide, redefined music videos, and left a legacy of artistry that continues to inspire generations. His voice dance moves and creative vision made him a global icon unlike any other. Yet despite his towering success, Jackson's career was also shadowed by a deeply complicated relationship with plastic surgery, one that forever altered how the world remembered him. It began with what seemed like a simple necessity. In 1979, while rehearsing, Michael broke his nose. The corrective surgery left him struggling to breathe properly on stage, leading to another operation. From that point on, surgeries became part of his life. By the mid-1980s, Fans noticed his nose appearing slimmer, his cheekbones more defined, and his skin significantly lighter. Jackson explained that he suffered from vitiligo, a skin condition causing pigment loss, and lupus, which made him sensitive to sunlight. Still, speculation persisted that he had deliberately lightened his skin, sparking endless controversy. With every public appearance, the scrutiny intensified. Newspapers, magazines, and television programs dissected his face, comparing old and new photographs. Analysts speculated about multiple rhinoplasties, chin implants, lip reductions, and even cheekbone alterations. Instead of headlines celebrating his music like his record-breaking Thriller album, which sold over 66 million copies globally, the media often reduced Jackson to discussions about his looks. This constant focus on his changing appearance overshadowed his artistry. By the 1990s, interviews and tabloid covers rarely asked about his music, but instead pressed questions about his identity, ethnicity, and mental health. Fans who once saw him as a symbol of confidence and creativity began to worry about his fragile self-image. For Jackson, the pressures of fame were unbearable. He grew up under the strict control of his father, facing immense expectations from childhood as the star of the Jackson 5. Perfection became a demand, not a choice. Cosmetic surgery, some argue, was his way of reclaiming control over his body, reshaping himself into the image he longed to see in the mirror. Tragically, this pursuit of perfection never seemed to end. Each change only drew more criticism, creating a cycle of pressure that contributed to his physical and emotional struggles. By the time of his death in 2009 at age 50, Michael Jackson's face had become emblematic of the dangers of excessive surgery and the cruelty of fame. Yet beneath the altered appearance remained the same man who gave the world Billie Jean Beat It and Man in the Mirror. His story is a reminder that genius often comes with vulnerability, and that no amount of physical transformation can shield a person from the relentless demands of public life. Michael Jackson should be remembered not for the surgeries that scarred his legacy, but for the music that changed the world forever. Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna, born Angela Renee White in 1988, was once one of the most recognizable figures in hip-hop culture and social media. She began as a dancer before breaking into the spotlight as a video vixen, appearing in music videos for stars like Tyga and Drake. With striking beauty, bold style, and undeniable charisma, she quickly built a brand that thrived on attention. By the early 2010s, Chyna had transitioned into modeling, launching her own businesses, and becoming a reality television personality. For a time, it seemed like nothing could slow her rise. But with fame came the pressures of maintaining a flawless image. Chyna turned to cosmetic surgery not just for minor tweaks, but for dramatic transformations. Over the years, she underwent breast augmentations, multiple buttock enhancements, lip fillers, facial contouring, and even dental work to achieve her signature look. Unlike many celebrities who kept their surgeries private, Blac Chyna embraced transparency, sharing details of her procedures on social media. Her body in many ways became her brand. At first, this openness worked in her favor. She was celebrated as a symbol of confidence, independence, and control over her own image. However, as the surgeries multiplied, public opinion began to shift. Fans and critics alike noticed how drastically her appearance changed, often describing her face as unrecognizable and her body proportions as unnatural. Tabloids stopped focusing on her ventures and instead obsessed over her surgeries. Even her high-profile relationships, including with rapper Tyga and Rob Kardashian, became overshadowed by debates about her ever-changing look. The most damaging part of this journey was how it affected her credibility. As an entrepreneur, she launched ventures like Lashed by Blac Chyna, but negative press about her appearance often drowned out her business achievements. By the mid-2010s, her reputation was tangled up in reality TV drama, public feuds, and endless speculation about what she had done next. Many observers felt that her initial natural beauty, what made her famous in the first place, had been lost under layers of surgical enhancements. Do you think celebrities who make their bodies part of their brand can ever escape the trap of public criticism? In recent years, however, Blac Chyna has attempted a turnaround. In 2023, she revealed that she had begun reversing many of her past surgeries, including dissolving facial fillers and removing breast and buttock implants. She described the change as a way of reclaiming her natural self and setting a healthier example for her children. While some praised her honesty and bravery, others saw it as a sobering admission of just how far the pursuit of beauty can go before it damages not just a career, but self-identity. Blac Chyna's story remains one of both caution and redemption. She is proof that while plastic surgery can elevate a celebrity's image, it can also spiral out of control when pursued without limits. Her journey from rising star to a symbol of excess, and now to a woman seeking restoration, shows the complicated intersection of fame, beauty, and self-worth. K. Michelle. K. Michelle, born Kimberly. Michelle Pate in 1982 rose to fame with a voice that was both soulful and powerful, capable of turning heartbreak into timeless ballads. Her early career flourished with hits like VSOP and Can't Raise a Man, and she quickly became one of R&B's most promising artists. Critics praised her authenticity and emotional delivery, and fans admired her resilience in an industry that often chews women up and spits them out. But as her career peaked, K. Michelle's name began to appear in headlines for reasons that had nothing to do with her music. Unlike many artists who choose to remain silent about cosmetic surgery, K. Michelle was brutally honest. She openly admitted to undergoing multiple procedures, including breast augmentations, nose reshaping, and most controversially, buttock injections. At first, these enhancements were seen as part of her glamorous image, aligning with trends dominating hip-hop and R&B culture. But over time, the risks caught up with her. The injections, often linked to dangerous side effects when performed outside of regulated medical practices, led to serious health complications. By 2018, K. Michelle revealed that she had undergone 4 surgeries in just 3 months to remove the black market silicone injections from her body. She described excruciating pain, fatigue, and emotional struggles, admitting that the pursuit of a perfect body nearly cost her her life. Instead of celebrating her chart success or her talent as the first African-American woman to receive a Soul Train Award for Best New Artist, the media often spotlighted her hospital visits, recovery process, and botched surgery stories. Her openness did, however, spark important conversations. Many fans appreciated her courage in admitting the dangers of illegal cosmetic enhancements, especially in an era when social media glorified exaggerated body proportions. Still, the damage to her career was undeniable. What should have been years of music dominance turned into years of survival and rebuilding. Despite setbacks, K. Michelle has never fully disappeared from the spotlight. She continues to release music, explore ventures in country and gospel, and advocate for women to prioritize health over beauty standards. Yet her story is a cautionary tale about how quickly fame can shift. One of the most talented voices of her generation became known more for her surgeries than her songs. K. Michelle's journey embodies the painful intersection of artistry, beauty, and survival in the entertainment world. She may always carry the scars of her choices, both physical and emotional, but she also carries a hard-earned wisdom. Beauty fades, trends change, but talent and truth remain. Tamar Braxton. Tamar Braxton, the youngest of the famous Braxton sisters, was once hailed as one of R&B's most vibrant and soulful voices. With chart-topping singles like Love and War and her unforgettable performances on The Real Talk Show, she carved out her own lane apart from her sister Toni Braxton's legendary career. Tamar's energy, candor, and powerhouse voice made her a fan favorite who seemed destined for longevity in both music and television. Yet alongside her success grew a parallel story, one that was less about her talent and more about her changing appearance. In her early years, Tamar was admired for her natural beauty, expressive eyes, radiant skin, and a confident presence that lit up the stage. But as fame intensified, she began experimenting with cosmetic enhancements. What started small Botox and fillers gradually escalated into noticeable facial reshaping lip injections and a slimmer, more contoured nose. For many, these changes seemed to steal away the very features that made her distinctive. Fans took to social media begging her to stop. "You were already beautiful, Tamar. Please don't change yourself." Her response to the criticism was complex. Tamar often admitted she battled insecurities, and in an industry where youth and beauty are relentlessly policed, she felt the pressure to compete. But as the procedures continued, the public narrative shifted. Instead of headlines celebrating her music, many focused on before and after photos overshadowing her artistry. Even her live performances, once filled with raw emotion, were described as less captivating, as if her relentless pursuit of beauty had dulled the fire that made her unforgettable. By the late 2010s, Tamar's name became just as associated with cosmetic surgery as with her music or TV career. She even addressed rumors publicly admitting to a nose job early in her career, though she insisted that some of the changes people noticed were exaggerated by lighting or makeup. Still, the damage to her image was done. Audiences seemed more fascinated with how she looked than how she sounded. Behind the scenes, Tamar's struggles were even deeper. She faced public divorces, battles with mental health, and a highly publicized suicide attempt in 2020, which revealed the crushing weight of fame and personal pressure. While plastic surgery wasn't the sole cause of her decline, it symbolized the broader insecurities and impossible standards that haunted her career. Yet Tamar remains a fighter. She continues to perform, star in reality TV, and connect with fans who still see the raw, gifted singer beneath the surgeries and struggles. Her story is both inspiring and cautionary inspiring because she refuses to disappear despite setbacks, and cautionary because it reminds us that altering oneself to chase perfection can sometimes rob the world of the authenticity that made someone shine in the first place. Tamar Braxton's legacy is not yet written in full. Whether she's remembered more for her voice or her appearance depends not just on her choices, but on whether audiences can look past the surface and see the artistry that remains. Nene Leakes. Lynethia Monique Nene Leakes became a household name as one of the original stars of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. With her booming laugh, razor-sharp one-liners, and larger-than-life personality, Nene didn't just participate in reality television, she redefined it. Viewers tuned in not just for the drama, but for the sheer magnetism she brought to every scene. Beyond reality TV, she found success as an actress on shows like Glee and The New Normal, cementing her place as one of the most recognizable black women in entertainment. But while her career soared, her appearance began to shift in ways that would later stir both fascination and controversy. Unlike many celebrities who kept their surgeries private, Nene was transparent. She openly admitted to undergoing a nose job, liposuction, breast lift, and even minor facelifts, some of which were documented on Bravo cameras. At first, these admissions made her more relatable. Fans applauded her honesty, calling her brave for shattering taboos about cosmetic procedures. Yet, as the surgeries accumulated, the once celebrated candor gave way to murmurs of disappointment. Her face appeared slimmer, her nose sharper, and her overall image drastically different from the woman audiences had fallen in love with. For a star whose brand was built on authenticity, the changes posed a dilemma. The bold, no-nonsense Nene suddenly seemed caught in the very trap she often mocked Hollywood's obsession with staying young at all costs. Some fans argued that her transformations erased the natural beauty that had made her stand out in the first place. Others defended her right to reinvent herself, insisting she was merely exercising agency over her own body. The criticism intensified as her career evolved. By the time she exited The Real Housewives of Atlanta, many commentators suggested that Nene's legacy was overshadowed by endless debates about her surgeries, rather than her groundbreaking role as a reality TV pioneer. On social media, side-by-side photos became more viral than clips of her iconic TV moments. What should have been remembered as a career of breaking barriers for black women in unscripted television became increasingly entangled with cosmetic scrutiny. To her credit, Nene never shied away from addressing her choices. In interviews, she explained that some of her surgeries were health-related, while others were for confidence. Her candor highlighted an important truth: women in the public eye often face impossible standards, forced to balance authenticity with constant pressure to look perfect. But while her honesty won respect, the perception that her natural charm had been surgically altered remained a shadow over her career. Densia. Densia, born Reprudencia Sonke in Cameroon, burst onto the African entertainment scene as a singer, entrepreneur, and fashion icon. Known for her bold style, flashy performances, and ambitious business ventures, she quickly carved out a space for herself beyond music. But what cemented her global notoriety wasn't her songs or outfits. It was her physical transformation and the storm of debates that followed. Early in her career, Densia was celebrated for her natural beauty and chocolate complexion. Yet as her fame grew, so did her obsession with altering her appearance. Over the years, she underwent skin-lightening breast augmentation, liposuction, and facial reconstruction procedures. Her metamorphosis became so dramatic that critics labeled her unrecognizable. Still, Densia never denied her choices. In fact, she leaned into them openly, promoting her skin-lightening product, Whitenicious, which became a lightning rod for controversy. The release of Whitenicious in 2014 sparked outrage across Africa and the diaspora. Many accused Densia of encouraging colorism and fueling insecurities among Black women by promoting Eurocentric beauty standards. While some condemned her for rejecting her heritage, others praised her for exercising personal freedom and challenging societal expectations. Densia, always outspoken, defended herself by saying she was giving people options and that beauty was a personal decision. But the debate never died down. Instead of her music being the topic of conversation, global headlines reduced her identity to a single polarizing product. Her surgeries compounded the controversy. Fans who once admired her natural look began questioning whether she had gone too far, and critics described her as addicted to reinvention. Still, Densia stood firm, framing her changes as a form of empowerment. She argued that everyone had the right to modify their bodies without judgment. Career-wise, the consequences were severe. While she gained international attention, her artistry took a back seat to the endless debates about her appearance. Instead of discussing her potential as one of Cameroon's biggest exports, the media focused on before and after photos, skin tone debates, and her unapologetic interviews. For many, Densia became less a musician and more a living controversy, an image that both sustained and limited her fame. Yet there is another side to her story. Densia is also a savvy entrepreneur who built a multi-million-dollar beauty empire. Despite criticism, Whitenicious reportedly sold well, and she cultivated a loyal fan base that admired her unshakable confidence. To her supporters, she is a symbol of defiance, someone unafraid to confront stigma and own her narrative, no matter the cost. Still, the fact remains, Densia's career in music and entertainment was undeniably overshadowed by her surgeries and skin-lightening crusade. She is remembered more for her shocking transformation than for her artistry, a reminder of how quickly beauty choices can eclipse talent in the public eye. Whether celebrated as fearless or criticized as harmful, Densia's legacy is inseparable from the risks she took in reshaping both her body and her brand. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj's career is one of extraordinary talent mixed with relentless controversy. Born Onika Tanya Maraj in Trinidad and raised in Queens, New York, she rose from underground mixtapes to become one of the most successful female rappers in history. With more than 100 million records sold worldwide, a string of Billboard-topping hits, and an unmatched stage presence, she earned the crown as the Queen of Rap. Yet her journey has always been shadowed by speculation about her body, with rumors of plastic surgery often distracting from her musical achievements. From the very beginning of her mainstream career, Nicki's figure became a global talking point. Audiences marveled at her dramatic curves, but many pointed to visible changes in her buttocks, breasts, and nose over the years. though she often deflected the conversation with wit or credited her image to clever styling and makeup speculation, never stopped. Her bold, exaggerated proportions became part of her brand, but they also turned her into a lightning rod for debates about authenticity and beauty standards in hip-hop. Her music videos and live performances, often filled with colorful wigs and avant-garde costumes, highlighted her unique persona. Yet too often, critics focused on her body instead of her lyrics. This scrutiny became so intense that her pioneering achievements, like being the first female solo artist to have 7 songs simultaneously on the Billboard Hot 100, were frequently overshadowed. Social media amplified the debate further. Side-by-side comparison photos circulated constantly, fueling endless arguments over how much of Nicki's look was natural. At the same time, her public feuds with other artists often became entangled with beauty narratives, as if her value could be measured by appearance rather than artistry. This double standard highlighted the harsh reality. While male rappers are celebrated for their lyrical prowess, women like Nicki are too often reduced to gossip about their bodies. Despite the criticism, Nicki leaned into her spectacle, using her controversial image as fuel to stay relevant in an industry where women are often discarded too quickly. She embraced her hyper-feminine persona and turned herself into a global brand, simultaneously ridiculed and celebrated. That resilience allowed her to dominate an industry that rarely leaves space for female rappers to reign for long. Nicki Minaj's legacy is both powerful and complicated. She shattered barriers, proving that women could not only compete, but rule in hip-hop. Yet her story is also a reminder of how beauty debates and plastic surgery rumors can overshadow even the greatest artistic contributions. Whether remembered more for her groundbreaking music or her polarizing image, Nicki has left an imprint that no controversy can erase. Tonto Dikeh. Tonto Dikeh, born in 1985 in Rivers State, Nigeria, is one of Nollywood's most talked-about actresses. Known for her fearless acting in films like Dirty Secret and Dangerous Beauty, she earned a reputation as the industry's bad girl who was unafraid to take controversial roles. Beyond acting, she dabbled in music, philanthropy, and politics, often positioning herself as a bold voice for women's empowerment. Yet while her career should have been defined by her achievements, much of her fame became tied to her choices in the operating room. Unlike many African stars who deny or downplay cosmetic enhancements, Tonto was remarkably open. She admitted to undergoing breast augmentation, liposuction, and body contouring surgeries, which she shared with fans through social media and interviews. Her transparency was groundbreaking in a culture where cosmetic surgery was often stigmatized. At first, many praised her honesty, calling her an inspiration for women who wanted to embrace change without shame. But as the surgeries became more frequent, critics argued that Tonto's bold reinventions distracted from her artistry. Instead of being remembered for her range as an actress, headlines increasingly focused on her changing figure. Photos of her slimmer waist and enhanced curves circulated online, overshadowing her professional work. This shift in public perception mirrored a troubling trend in Nollywood, and beyond, women's legacies are often reduced to their looks rather than their talent. The backlash was swift. Conservative audiences accused her of abandoning African values, while others worried that her high-profile surgeries encouraged young women to pursue risky procedures in unregulated clinics. Health experts even warned of the dangers of multiple operations, sparking debates about body image in Nigeria. For Tonto, who already faced public scrutiny for her outspoken nature and personal life, including a tumultuous divorce and custody battles, the fixation on her surgeries only added more pressure. Yet Tonto refused to bow to criticism. She consistently framed her choices as acts of self-love and empowerment. In interviews, she emphasized that her surgeries were for her own confidence, not for public approval. Her resilience highlighted a key contradiction. Though her appearance changes may have complicated her career, they also solidified her image as a woman unafraid to own her truth no matter how controversial. Still, the impact on her career was undeniable. Casting directors began to view her more as a tabloid figure than a serious actress, and her transition into politics and philanthropy was often overshadowed by discussions about her looks. What could have been celebrated as a multi-dimensional career instead became entangled with the narrative of cosmetic surgery. Tonto Dike's story is a reminder of how fame magnifies personal choices into cultural debates. She is both a trailblazer breaking stigmas around surgery in Africa and a cautionary tale about how quickly reinvention can blur the line between empowerment and public judgment. Her journey forces us to confront the question, when does self-expression stop being liberation and start becoming a career liability? Kanye Mbao. Kanye Mbao, born Kanye Sile. Mbao in Soweto in 1985 has lived most of her adult life in the public eye. She burst onto the scene as an actress in South African soap operas like Muvhango and Mzansi, where her beauty and charisma made her an instant favorite. But Kanye was never content to simply play by the rules of fame. Instead, she built a reputation as South Africa's Queen of Bling, a woman who embraced wealth, luxury, and reinvention without apology. Yet the same boldness that made her magnetic also drew her into controversy, particularly over her relationship with cosmetic surgery. Unlike many celebrities who shy away from discussing their procedures, Kanye was upfront. She openly admitted to undergoing skin lightening, nose reshaping, breast enhancement, and other cosmetic alterations, making her one of the first African stars to speak candidly about her choices. Her candor shocked a society where beauty procedures were often whispered about in secrecy. Some hailed her as a pioneer, praising her for breaking taboos and showing women that they could make choices about their own bodies. Others accused her of bowing to Western beauty standards and setting a dangerous precedent for her young fans. Her skin lightening in particular became a national talking point. Photos comparing her earlier dark complexion to her dramatically lighter skin spread across tabloids and social media, sparking heated debates about identity and self-acceptance. Critics labeled her a sellout, while supporters argued that she was simply exercising personal freedom in a world where beauty is currency. Despite the backlash, Kanye thrived on the controversy. She leaned into her brand as a fearless risk-taker, using interviews and reality TV appearances to reinforce her image as a woman in control of her destiny. Yet the endless focus on her surgeries and complexion often overshadowed her professional achievements. Instead of celebrating her acting skills or entrepreneurial ventures, the media fixated on her physical transformation. In many ways, her career became defined less by her roles on screen and more by the mirror. Still, Kanye's story is layered. Beyond the headlines, she is a mother, a television personality, and a businesswoman who used controversy as a stepping stone. She transformed scrutiny into relevance, ensuring that her name remained at the center of South African pop culture for nearly 2 decades. For some, this makes her a savvy strategist. For others, it confirms the dangers of relying too heavily on reinvention to stay in the spotlight. Kanye Mbao remains one of South Africa's most polarizing figures. Her journey embodies the thin line between empowerment and self-destruction, showing how cosmetic surgery can be both a tool for confidence and a source of endless judgment. Whether admired or criticized, she proved that in the world of fame, reinvention is power, but it always comes at a price. Zari Hassan. Zarina Zari Hassan, often called the Boss Lady, is one of East Africa's most influential celebrities. Born in Uganda and based in South Africa, she built her brand as a businesswoman, socialite, and reality TV star. With her lavish lifestyle, high-profile relationships, and undeniable charisma, Zari became a household name across the continent. But as much as she was admired for her success and beauty, her journey also reveals how cosmetic surgery and the pressure to maintain perfection reshaped both her image and her career. Zari first rose to fame as a singer before shifting into entrepreneurship, running schools, and investing in cosmetics and fashion. Yet as her star grew brighter, public fascination with her appearance began to overshadow her ventures. Over the years, fans and critics speculated that she underwent breast augmentation, liposuction, and facial contouring procedures to maintain her youthful glow and curvaceous figure. The transformation was striking. Her slim waist, prominent curves, and flawless skin became her trademarks. Unlike many African celebrities who remain silent on the subject, Zari often played coy, neither confirming nor denying the rumors. This air of mystery only heightened curiosity. Some admirers praised her for maintaining her beauty in an industry obsessed with youth, while others criticized her for allegedly conforming to Eurocentric ideals. The debate was fierce, with Zari caught between those who saw her as a role model for confidence and those who viewed her as an example of vanity gone too far. Her high-profile relationships, especially with Tanzanian superstar Diamond Platnumz, fueled further scrutiny. Every photo of the couple was dissected, with fans pointing to changes in her face and body. Instead of being celebrated for her business acumen, Zari often found herself trending online for cosmetic rumors. This fixation took a toll on her public persona. Though she successfully managed companies and starred in Netflix's Young, Famous, and African, conversations about her success were often drowned out by endless gossip about whether her looks were natural. For a woman who branded herself as the boss lady, it was a frustrating contradiction. Her beauty gave her visibility, but the speculation around it often undermined her credibility. Still, Zari Hassan remains unapologetic. She continues to present herself as a symbol of confidence and reinvention, using her platform to promote women's empowerment and financial independence. Whether altered or not, her image reflects a woman who understands the currency of beauty in modern celebrity culture. Zari's story underscores the difficult balance celebrities face between authenticity and expectation, natural beauty, and surgical enhancement. She may forever be remembered as both a business mogul and a woman surrounded by cosmetic controversy. Yet one thing is undeniable. Zari Hassan mastered the art of staying relevant, even if the price was being judged more for her appearance than her achievements. Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams built her empire by saying what others were too afraid to say. Born in 1964 in New Jersey, she began as a radio shock jockey, making a name for herself with her unfiltered commentary and daring interviews. That boldness later translated into television with The Wendy Williams Show, a daytime talk juggernaut that ran for over a decade, earning her millions of loyal fans. Known for her catchphrase, "How you doin'?" and her larger-than-life personality, Wendy was never one to hide behind a mask, and that included her relationship with plastic surgery. Unlike many celebrities who keep their procedures private, Wendy was candid. She openly admitted to undergoing breast augmentation, tummy tucks, liposuction facelifts, and Botox treatments, insisting they were her personal choice. For Wendy, cosmetic surgery wasn't a shameful secret. It was an expression of self-love and control. She often told her audience that she did it for herself, not for Hollywood, not for men, and not to meet anyone else's standards. This transparency set her apart, making her both relatable and controversial. At first, fans appreciated her honesty. She became a rare celebrity voice who openly discussed the pressures of aging in the spotlight. But as the procedures became more visible, some critics argued that her evolving appearance distracted from her role as a trusted commentator. Tabloids began running side-by-side comparisons, and discussions of her looks often overshadowed her sharp, witty takes on celebrity culture. Do you think Wendy's openness about her surgeries empowered her audience, or did it make her more vulnerable to ridicule? Wendy's journey with cosmetic surgery also reflected deeper struggles. Behind the glitz of her show, she battled addiction, health issues, and a tumultuous personal life that often spilled into the headlines. Her choice to be so open about surgery sometimes backfired, with critics mocking her appearance rather than respecting her vulnerability. For a woman who thrived on public attention, the scrutiny could be both fuel and poison. Still, Wendy refused to back down. She often reminded viewers that she was in charge of her own body, challenging the stigma that surrounded cosmetic enhancements. Her unapologetic stance sparked conversations about beauty standards, ageism, and the unrealistic expectations placed on women in media. To her supporters, Wendy was a pioneer, someone who normalized the idea that women could take control of their image without apology. To her detractors, she was another example of fame distorting natural beauty. As her show ended in 2022 amid serious health struggles, Wendy Williams' legacy remains complicated. She is remembered as one of the most fearless talk show hosts of her generation, but also as a woman whose surgeries became part of her brand. Her story is a reminder that cosmetic choices can both empower and expose, giving confidence on one hand, while inviting harsh judgment on the other. Wendy Williams lived and broadcast without filters. Love her or criticize her, she turned her body, her voice, and her choices into a spectacle that defined daytime television. Rita Dominic. Rita Dominic, born in 1975 in Imo State, Nigeria, is one of Nollywood's most respected and celebrated actresses. With a career spanning more than 2 decades, she has starred in over 100 films, including The Meeting Shattered, and 76 earning awards for her talent and grace. Known for her refined elegance, Rita has long been admired as a symbol of class in the Nigerian film industry. Yet behind her flawless image lies a narrative about cosmetic surgery rumors that have trailed her for years. As she matured on screen, fans began comparing her old and new photos, speculating about subtle but noticeable changes. Whispers of nose reshaping, skin tightening, and other facial enhancements grew louder, though Rita has never confirmed nor denied these claims. Her silence only deepened the curiosity, turning her into the subject of endless gossip blogs. Some argued that her face looked smoother and more contoured than before, while others insisted her beauty was natural and timeless. In a culture that often places impossible standards on women, especially celebrities, the rumors reflected more than idle chatter. They exposed the enormous pressure Nollywood actresses face to remain youthful in an industry that often sidelines older women. Rita, who had always been private about her personal life, suddenly found her appearance discussed more than her acting achievements. Despite the distractions, Rita remained focused on her craft. Her performance in The Meeting won her multiple awards, proving that her talent had not faded with time. In 2022, her glamorous wedding to publisher Fidelis Onosike reminded fans that she remained a cultural icon, sophisticated, graceful, and still in command of the spotlight. Yet the speculation never stopped. Online debates about whether she had work done continued, with critics suggesting that her polished look was the result of procedures rather than genetics. The irony is that whether altered or not, Rita Dominic's beauty became both her strength and her burden. Rita's story highlights the difficult balance between authenticity and survival in show business. For many, she remains Nollywood's timeless star, but for others, her legacy is tangled in whispers of reinvention. Regardless of the truth, her journey underscores a universal theme that in the pursuit of perfection, even the most talented women risk being reduced to their appearances. Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore made history in 1993 when she was crowned Miss USA, one of the few black women at the time to win the prestigious title. Her stunning beauty, radiant smile, and undeniable charm opened doors to acting roles, modeling campaigns, and eventually a high-profile spot on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. For decades, she has embodied confidence and ambition. But like many women in the spotlight, Kenya's appearance became a lightning rod for speculation about plastic surgery. Fans who admired her natural beauty in the 1990s began noticing subtle changes over the years. Rumors swirled about nose reshaping, lip enhancements, and Botox treatments, though Kenya has never publicly confirmed these claims. Her smooth skin and seemingly ageless look sparked admiration, but also skepticism. Critics claimed she was desperately clinging to her Miss USA image, while supporters argued she was simply aging gracefully with help from modern beauty practices. Kenya's situation was unique because she built much of her brand on the idea of natural beauty. For some, the idea that she might have altered her features seemed like a betrayal of that authenticity. Yet others saw her as an example of how women could use every tool available to stay radiant and confident. As part of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kenya's appearance was constantly under the microscope. Every reunion show and Instagram post became fodder for online debate, with blogs dissecting her face and body in detail. Instead of focusing on her entrepreneurial projects or her motherhood journey, conversations often revolved around whether she had gone under the knife. Still, Kenya has consistently defied her critics. She remains an influential figure in reality television, and beyond, balancing her career with raising her daughter, Brooklyn. Her resilience demonstrates that while cosmetic rumors may overshadow her achievements, they cannot erase her decades of impact in entertainment. Kenya Moore's story illustrates the fragile line between being admired for beauty and being scrutinized for maintaining it. She remains a celebrated icon of grace and determination, but her legacy, like many others, shows how easily the pursuit of perfection can complicate even the brightest careers. Plastic surgery remains one of the most divisive choices in Hollywood. For some, it represents empowerment and confidence, while for others, it marks the beginning of a career overshadowed by appearances rather than talent. From Michael Jackson to Mashoza Tamar Braxton to Densia, these stars remind us that fame magnifies every decision, turning personal choices into public debates. As audiences, we are left to question whether these transformations were acts of liberation or cautionary tales of excess. Do you see cosmetic surgery as a tool of empowerment or a dangerous trap? Subscribe for more on Legends of Black Excellence.